I'm from eastern North Carolina, from a rural community called Farm Life in Martin County, and so were all my kin, born and raised and around that countryside. So I was amongst lots of family and lots of tobacco. I really grew into a self-sufficient, fearless adult when I overcame my fear of a mean mule that we had on our farm. I would walk around the mule both ways because I was afraid of it, pure and simple. And my dad said, "You're wasting a lot of time, you're wasting a lot of energy. Go under the mule to get to the other side." Under a mule? I wouldn't walk under a mule. But he persuaded me, and he just made it a part of my training that if it was standing in the way of a high level of efficiency to perform that task, you had to overcome it. And every day he'd find, "Are you ready to walk under the mule today? Can we wait till tomorrow?" But when I walked under the mule to get him hooked up, I had conquered a mountain. I knew that I wanted to go to college. The options were not very many for girls on farms. In 1950, when I came to East Carolina, the tuition was $90 per quarter. My maternal grandfather was very, very proud of the fact that he had a granddaughter in college. So when he died, he left a provision in his will to pay for my master's degree. I worked as the English teacher at the infield graded school. Then I went 2 years down to Wilmington, where I was an English teacher. I taught technical writing to candidates for engineering degrees. Got a call from Dr. Messick, who was the president here, and said they had a vacancy that occurred quite suddenly and wanted to know if I'd be willing to come back and take it. And of course, it fell out of heaven as far as I was concerned. We've got a very, very productive workforce here in North Carolina, and I worked 37 years in one place, and I saw some tremendously dedicated people doing marvelous work. Sometimes the only way that you can get employees, good people who know how to do the job, to working on it is to ask where they are, meddle a bit. It's one of my best skills. I was called in to head agencies, different ones in state government. We got really good in those agencies that I worked in at deciding what our objectives were. When I went over to DMV, it generally was taking close to 3 months to turn around a title for a tag. And we went in to see why it was taking so long, where the blocks were. We then set some goals to reorganize or restructure, and in about 3 or 4 months, we were turning around tag titles in 4 days. My mother gave me the permission to misbehave. She's been dead a long time, but she said, "Now, Janice, you can be nice, and you can behave yourself, and you can treat everybody with respect, and you can mind your manners until that stops working. Then you go right on and behave just like your daddy." And every now and then I would be sitting in a meeting, and I say, "Well, I think it's about time for Ben to come to this meeting," and everything turned around. It's true. It's fun to watch. Choose your battles carefully, Leo Jenkins used to say, and make sure that they are big enough to fight, and make sure they're small enough to win.